everyone. I'm your host, Siobhan Myers on Talking Wellness, and we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers. The Kiva Centers is a nationally recognized Indigenous-led peer trauma-run formed organization. The organization focuses on development and promotion of healing communities for people experiencing different social class impacts like trauma, mental health, and substance use. And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening. We have a very special guest here today, Sarah Presson. I said your name correct. Yes.
You did.
Sarah is a really important guest to me today because she actually works for the same company that I work for, Handle Behavioral Health. Yeah. And Sarah is a supervisor. She does a really great job.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're
so
always
much.
There for me when I need you. Kelly is great too, yes, but you're definitely, you guys work so great together when you're really supporting the team.
I just feel like when I was thinking of things to focus on and talk about, and I mean, one of those things would be like, just each department at HBH seems to be so strong.
Yes.
And I think it's, just kind of a compliment to a little bit the Handels and who they chose for each department along the way. But I wouldn't be happier than I am right now. I just there's a wonderful team of supervisors. And of course, Greg.
Yes, Greg is awesome.
The president.
Yes.
Of HBH, he is, I remember when I was in the interview and it was during COVID.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. And it was the first time I'd ever kind of done like a not telehealth like appointment, but like I could see him on my screen.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, he is delightful. He is first of all, he's so smart, but a lot of times people who are so smart are not equally as warm and wonderful.
Yes.
And he's very intelligent. All of that.
Yeah.
And actually you just learn so much from him. He's a very good teacher.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful family.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
There's nobody that you don't feel comfortable talking to. At least that's how I feel, 100%.
Yeah, very communal. I love the events. I'm looking forward to the next one that they're having. I think they're starting to organize like the picnic.
That's right. It's coming up.
All that good food. I love it.
That was delicious.
Yes, absolutely. So, Sarah, tell the viewers and listeners, a little bit about yourself, what you do, like as far as like your clinical background, where you're from.
Well, let's see. I grew up in between like Saratoga and Albany, New York, in a little teeny tiny town. And I moved to Massachusetts. Now it seems like I'm gonna have to say a few decades ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we all came here from another place,
right?
And people who live here, they're like, why are you here? Like,
how did you get here?
Why
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I always had wanted, in my life, I had always wanted to do three things. I'd always wanted to be a social worker. I had always wanted to do the radio.
Okay.
And I'd always wanted to act.
Nice.
And I did some acting a little bit in high school and stuff, and in my 20s, I was doing radio,
nice.
20s and 30s. And then, I don't know, somewhere in my 30s, I kind of transitioned and started working in human services.
Okay.
And taking, just when I started kind of taking a job working with people that I could support, I was like, had no idea.
Right.
And worked in several jobs that way. And I guess my first job that I kind of felt like at home with, I worked at a school.
Okay.
It was called Tri-County School.
Okay.
And it was for kids in special education. And it was such a wonderful place. Wonderful. I started there as a teacher's aide because I didn't have my master's then.
Right. Oh, wow.
And then that's where I decided, okay, I'm in. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And I was going for my master's. I got a job as kind of like a guidance counselor there, a student liaison.
Okay.
And the more I did, the more I pursued it. Got my MSW from Springfield College. And then I spent a lot of time. I'm probably the most lengthy period that I've worked anywhere. I worked at BHN Crisis in Springfield, Mass.
What was that like?
I was a supervisor. I started as a clinician. And then somewhere in there, a supervisor job opened up and I was like, well, sure, I'll try.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a lot of experience, so you bring a lot to the table, and so if anyone has an issue with a certain type of client, you're there to be supportive.
Right. And anyway that I can. And I think a lot of times, when working in crisis just really, really allowed me to have a lot of experience with people who were struggling because they were in crisis.
Right. Absolutely.
And it was just a remarkable place to be working at, and colleagues that you worked with. But you learn a lot. You learn a lot about, just how much support means to people. Absolutely. And sometimes what happens when people don't get support. Right. And a lot of times winding up in crisis situations. So that was kind of like, I just feel like I learned as much, non-academically, I wasn't taking tests and I wasn't, but that was an education for me. And really just wanting to do more of that. And that at that point, I went back and got my master's.
Nice.
Started going back.
You can definitely do more and that sort of thing. Okay.
Right.
And so you're an LICSW.
Yes.
And I am an LMHC.
That is right.
Yes. And so people oftentimes, wonder, well, like what the differences are. And I like when I have people up here who are like in the field, because we can always like talk to, what's the difference between psychiatry and mental health. And you and I were talking about this before starting the show, and it really is about like systems, right? We do the same work.
I feel like, when I worked at Crisis, there was a little bit of everybody. There was like LMHCs, LICSWs, there was interns that you could supervise, so it was really great because we all learned about each other.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, well, what information do you have on this? And what do you think?
Exactly. Right. And pulling from like their different experiences. But I think, LMH, so mental health derived out of social work. So that's why a lot of time when we look at like the supervisory model, that LICSWs can supervise an LMHC and LI, whereas LMHC can only supervise really an LMHC. It could be more to do with insurance, but I feel like
I was talking to you about this. I don't know who I was talking. This is a similar conversation that I've had recently between like, what can we do? Who can we supervise as an LMHC or an LICSW?
Yeah. I think that's more like it's a supervisory, it's a licensure. But if you're admin, like if you're an admin supervisor and you're just looking through documentation and that sort of thing, then the LMHC can do both just as well as the LI.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
But for the licensure, like to give someone their clinical hours towards licensure, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was always like a friendly rivalry.
Yeah. LIs are always like, well, we're LIs, how we are.
And then I was always like, okay, like whatever.
You guys are the top dogs. But I think,
we're all just here to help.
Absolutely. And we do the same work. So it's interesting, but a hospital may prefer more of someone with an LI, like kind of like a social work degree over someone who has an LMHC. Like they'll say an LI is preferred, but for an LMHC, you can sign up, apply. And that's because of the system level, the models are totally different when you go to school. But I really feel like in the near future, it might be all enmeshed together. Because
I would hope so at this point, because I feel like there's so many similarities.
The clinical part.
The clinical part, right? It's kind of like, I feel like such an important and integral part of helping people heal. And everywhere I've worked, there's always been a variety.
Yeah, absolutely.
I worked at Brattleboro Retreat for a little bit. And that definitely was a system to work within. And you know what I mean? Every experience that I've had in terms of where I have worked since I got my master's, I mean, they have all been educational.
Yeah, definitely.
For me.
Definitely. Yeah. I know when I was working at South Bay Community Services, like, you know, when I first started out, I felt like I was a social worker. I felt like I was a counselor. I felt like I was DCF sometimes because I was doing more, you know, than the person assigned to the case. But so, yeah, it shifts. And I think that's where they come in with like the clinicians, that term where it's kind of looking at a whole array of things. So,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's so much overlap in the field.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing because we're needed.
Yes. Oh, yes. We are needed. And
in this world right now, you know, which is, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So tell us about Handle and your experience and, you know, the company. Kind of, what I like about Handle is that they are more so clinician centered rather than client centered. And I feel weird saying that sometimes. And I feel like when I do say it, I have to give a good explanation behind it, because it's kind of like, well, what about the client? And it's like, we're not forgetting about the client, and that doesn't take away from like the care that we're giving the client, but just really kind of shaping our lives around our schedule, you know, while we're meeting our productivity level and making sure that, you know, we give the clients the care that they need, the flexibility.
The thing that, I mean, the thing about HBH, and like, this is my favorite place that I've ever worked. And the reason for it is because of the way it is set up, the people who run it, and how they run it. And I think Greg he is in charge of the supervisory team. Yes. You know, and he is always just he's a good leader. He's a good teacher. And he's very supportive, but he's very empowering, you know, to remind people of their own strengths that they have. Yes. And, you know, the working with the clients that we do work with, sometimes, you know, obstacles and struggles come up, and he's just very good at, well, what do you want to do? Let's talk about what you want to do with this. You know what I mean? Right. Let's talk about it. Right. Yep. And there's never, not for 1 second that I've been here from the beginning up till now, there's never been a moment where I have felt under, like, you know, like it's so like a hierarchical thing, and like, we're really down here. Like, I feel like it's more of like everybody's just working as hard as they can in their own departments. And that is for, you know, the clients. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Greg is really, you know, he's very good about, and he works within the supervisory team, and we interview people and choosing people that we think would be a good fit. Right. And it's just a wonderful system to be in. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And it trickles down to the staff, like the clinicians, and we can obviously like see that, and, you know, that you guys are working hard, and that things are very, like, they're not toxic, calm, relaxed. It is friendly, definitely, yes, very welcoming, one of the healthier, like you said, environments. Yes. And I think that it's just a pleasure. Because I think we've all kind of maybe been within workplace organizations that didn't feel like that. Oh no, great. Yeah, right. Absolutely. And so it's just, you know, a real pleasure to work there. And to feel a camaraderie. Right. You know, they do such a good job, and they want you to grow too. And you to kind of spread your wings and try new things. And it's you know, just even kind of organizing different events, or Kelly, your supervisor, you know, there's Kelly, and that she started the clinician group that meets weekly or bi-weekly. The supervision groups? Yeah, the supervision groups, and that's wonderful. Yep. So I feel like the supervisory team has supervisors that all have kind of different strengths and personalities, but also work together really well as a team. Absolutely. And we'll talk more about this after the break. Okay. I'm your host, Siobhan Myers, on Talking Wellness, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Unity Radio. Worcester, we've got you.
Hey, what's up, Worcester? This is Jacqueline Carr, and I'm inviting you to be inspired with me every Sunday starting at 6 a.m. with the Jacqueline Carr Show on Unity Radio. I'll get you going with a motivating word, special guests, the absolute best music, and a few other surprises. But you gotta tune in on Sundays at Unity Radio to find out. It's Jacqueline Carr, and the Jacqueline Carr Show is happening Sundays from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. right here on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection, and also streaming on WUTY.org.
At kivacenters.org, we believe every story matters and healing starts with being heard. The Kiva Centers are here to explore the paths of mental health, recovery, and wholeness with you. Visit kivacenters.org, a statewide leader in peer-led support and recovery services, from Worcester to Western Mass. More information is available at kivacenters.org. Kiva is lighting the way forward.
Ever lose your keys? Is that normal aging, dementia, or something else? Fear often stops us from asking for a simple checkup from the neck up. Knowing your numbers, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol are common, but your cognitive numbers are also important. Request our free guide. It's filled with tips for better brain health, facts about dementia, and much more. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Your brain will thank you.
Tune into The Sustainable Life with Susan Hewlett, and together we will find our way to a healthier, healing lifestyle by listening to empowering stories of overcoming our struggles. Join me, Susan Hewlett, on The Sustainable Life every Wednesday from 5 to 6 on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. See you soon.
You're listening to Unity 97.9 FM, WUTY. Let's talk, Worcester.
Hello and welcome to Talking Wellness. I'm Siobhan Myers, your host, and we are sponsored by the Kiva Centers. The Kiva Centers is a nationally recognized Indigenous-led peer-run trauma-informed organization. The organization focuses on development and promotion of healing communities for people experiencing different social class impacts like trauma, mental health, and substance use. You are listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. And we're back after the break.
Here we are.
Yes. So we had a really good conversation like before the break about like how Handle HBH has like a healthy environment, non-toxic, and that sort. And so we can go into like the services that we offer in terms of like, you know, telehealth, in person,
right?
retreat.
And I think definitely in the pandemic, telehealth became right just so crucial for people getting. Because it kind of felt like the world closed down for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, hey, here's a way that we can help people through this. And it was, you know, I remember that's just about when I started as a clinician.
Yep.
And I was amazed at how I thought maybe it would feel uncomfortable because, you know, you're looking at your screen, but from the moment that I did it, it just kind of felt really okay, you know, like this is working.
Yeah.
And people are benefiting. And I think we have in person, we have lots of individual, you know, come in for counseling in person.
Yeah.
And we still do telehealth. So it's just kind of a balance.
Yeah. And we were just saying like my schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are technically my telehealth days. And then Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday are like a mix of both, but Saturday is really like a short day and it's telehealth. In person. Mondays, I have a weekend, which is my Monday.
Yeah.
Because I see the little ones. So everyone's like, they always come in, they always feel guilty. And I'm like, no, well, I started out having a whole bunch of kids during the summer. And guess what happened when school came back? And then you got the after school programs and everything. So these kids really are in need. So I don't have too much going on right now. Like, and if I needed to take some time off, I will, like on the weekend. But you were asking me, and I would want to say that as far as the certain percentage of what's telehealth and what's in person, I would say there's 50-50. I mean, you
Yeah.
have some people who are in person and they can't make it, and they'll say, let's do a telehealth or something like that.
And that, what a wonderful thing to have as a backup, you know?
Right. Yes.
And
True.
I think a lot of folks have found, you know, post-pandemic that they like telehealth.
Yes.
Because it's so convenient.
Yes. Very convenient.
They don't have to drive anywhere.
No, you don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to, you know, as far as we know, we can see you from the chest up.
Yep. That's all we know.
Obviously you're dressed, but you know, you don't have to, you know, if you're in sweats or whatever the case may be. But yeah, absolutely.
You know, and there's people that, you know, sometimes could be at work, they're taking their lunch break and they just go to the car and have a telehealth session. Right?
Absolutely. That's happened so many times. Or even if they're in their home and they need privacy, they can just go in their car and, you know, or if they're in their office,
quieter.
and in their own office, they can have a session. So absolutely. And so the ages we treat are,
I mean, from kids to seniors.
Oh wow, 0 to 5. We take
little
baby. Oh my gosh,
little baby.
How do we do that?
I don't know how. You know,
Maybe
what? I don't know perhaps I don't
know
know what our youngest client. I don't know that age. I should probably off the top of my head. I don't know.
It's okay,
but
I mean, the youngest I've worked with is 3, so I can see that. And I actually is this person 3? I think she's like 4 or 5, somewhere around there, but she's adorable. She comes in on the weekend, but yeah, she's, you know, I see those itty bitties.
Oh, so
yeah,
they are fun.
They are fun. I'm always playing mermaid and swimming into the water and then running away from people who are trying to kill us and go after us. You know, and then I'm trying to squeeze in like, how was your day or how was your week? And, you know, so you just really make it creative, and we created like bully zones and
that's so
non-bully
cool.
So I had to incorporate something like that because I think, you know, with the bullying, like some kids are aware of that, or sometimes they're doing it and don't realize
and
it.
They have no idea. Right.
And so you try to make it fun and say, okay, now we're in a friend zone. What makes a good friend? What makes a bully? How can, and then we have a bully and a friendship zone. So I said, how can a bully become a friend?
Right.
A friend, you know.
Right.
So
because it's possible.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. One of my internships was it's no longer there, Providence Hospital, but they had they have a adolescent side of a certain floor, and then the latency age kids. And I did my internship there, and so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
I made up a game.
Yeah.
For the therapy groups, and it was like feeling good, feeling groovy about me. And
nice.
Had a big fuzzy dice, and you would roll it, and whatever you landed on, if you landed on a 2, it was this category. Okay, give the person to your left a compliment.
Yes. I like switching it up too, because sometimes I do get tired of being a mermaid, you know, and I want to sit in front of an adult who's just going to sit still and talk to me for an hour.
It's nice.
You know, right. Yes. And then sometimes you're just like, I need to get up and do something exciting. And that's when the kids come in and you can switch it up and use different techniques. So I really do like the variation that I have. And then the couples. So we do that.
We do couple family counseling.
I do a lot of couples therapy. And that's interesting too. Wow. And families. Sometimes I have families of 5 come in.
Yep.
That's why I'm not hogging the room. Not that I am, but it's like that's the room I need because
there's a lot of people.
Some people need to be comfortable and spread out, you know, and you have that many people come in. So, and the kids love it because they get to run around and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So, so the couples are really interesting too. And I think it's great to
and that's so interesting that you say that, because in my master's program, I did not have any experience with that.
Yeah.
So that's something I never wanted to delve into.
Yes. I always say it's interesting because when I did take it on, I would think I was working for, was it BetterHelp? I might have been working for BetterHelp. And I said, you know, I'll do it. You know, they want couples. Sometimes you're surprised and you're like, okay, they're on my caseload. And I figured out a way, an approach that made me comfortable about like what to address with couples. So from culture to like different perspectives. Right. And then I actually did a training on it. I said, I may need to beef some stuff up. And, you know, since I'm doing this all the time, it was like the same stuff that I had innately that came about. I was like, what? Like,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Like family, like who would to think that like a family involvement or the way we grew up had a lot to do with being in a relationship, but it does because I said, if I'm going to do this, I really have to take a holistic approach.
Right.
So I had to write these things down and I wrote them down. So each session I was like, all right, let's talk about intimacy, the different levels of intimacy. Let's talk about culture and how you were raised and how this person was raised. And now how do you want to compromise that, you know, and then looking at financials and just kind of going down a whole list. But it was really exciting to see that someone actually, you know, figured that out too. And it was like, wow, so it works. And it did work, you know. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
yeah, I was really excited
Wow,
about
yeah.
that because I'm like, how am I going to do this? Can I do this?
Right.
And then I was really great at it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to do that. The ones that you probably, the systems or approach that you really like doing, you're probably like, I can get better at this. But then for the families and the couples, it's just in the back of my mind, I'm great. But then I'm like, I want to get out of here,
Right. Well, everybody, you have I think everybody has a place or a population or of folks that they feel most comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because it was a learning curve for me, and now I love it, and I go into it with ease.
That's
because
nice.
the most bizarre session I had was when someone hit someone with a pillow. And I'm like across the screen, like, hey, hold on now. Like, we can't be doing that. So
this was telehealth.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, and they're fine. They're wonderful now. So, and it's just sometimes we relapse and with couples therapy, it happens because people can't keep it up and they revert back to their old ways.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, sometimes that happens with people who do individual counseling.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just need a little more ongoing support.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite approach? And what type of counseling do you like to do? I know you supervise, but you also do. You take some clients too.
Okay. I have a few clients.
Yep.
I really like working with adolescents.
Okay. Really? Wow.
Yep. And I mean, I do enjoy adults, but I feel like, adolescents, we're all trying to find our way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I going to do what all my friends from high school are doing?
Yes. Yep.
Or am I going to do, kind of listen to my heart or go this way? So I think it's such an exciting time in life, but it's also really challenging.
Yep.
And I love to work with them so much and just kind of do that person-centered approach and find out from them, like if one of my favorite questions, and it's definitely not mine. I don't know whose it is. I'm not going to claim it, but like if you woke up tomorrow, and you had 3 wishes and they came true overnight, what would be different for you?
Right.
Yeah. And I always, as soon as I heard that, and it was in school at some point, but I was like, that is helpful.
Yeah.
For everybody that you are working with when you are just meeting them.
Right.
Right. Like what would be different about your day?
Mm-hmm. And how would you make it different? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, like, okay, well, if I and people say so many different kinds of things. It's just very interesting,
Yep.
In addition to your name, address, and phone number, we always start with like, well, what brought you here? What are you looking for?
Right.
Right. But then I feel like with that question, you get right to it because you really find out how people would like things to be different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have some of those on my caseload too.
Do you?
And it is a tough age because for some of them, their parents are saying you have to do therapy.
Right.
So there's that,
like,
resistance. Yeah. And then you're not, I'm thinking everything's great. And then things are not great when you follow up with the parents. And it's like,
right.
Come on, I'm here to help you. You try to get something out of it. And which they have, but there are some things I think, in particular, is one client just has their days.
It's just hard. I mean, I think it's a hard time to be an adolescent.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like when I was an adolescent, it was a little easier.
Yeah.
The world's changed.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like for me, it was rough, and maybe because of different circumstances, and I couldn't wait to be 18 and do things on my own. But I think now more than ever, and what's going on in the world, you're right that there's so much going on, so much to take in, and so a lot of these adolescents have to deal with the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Literally.
So I'm your host, Siobhan Myers, and you're listening to Talking Wellness on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Hello, my name is Alvin Familia, president of the Manny 267 Foundation, and you are listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM. Worcester Community Connection.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, host of Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9. Black in Business is a series of conversations with influential members of the Black business community. These entrepreneurs knows what it means to risk everything to create successful businesses and spark positive changes in the community. So join us. Again, I'm Suzanne Graham Anderson, also known as Positively Suzanne, right here on Black in Business, Thursdays at 5 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
Kingdom Voice and Music and Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester, present a Black History Month celebration, Courage to Remember. Join us as we share powerful stories of African royalty, generational heritage, and our living legends through music, theater, and dance. Our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Remember, also highlights Alzheimer's and dementia in the African American community, providing resources, awareness, and hope, alongside cultural food and local vendors showcasing their work. Don't miss our Black History Month celebration, Courage to Remember, February 28th at the Pryor Performing Arts Center in Worcester. For more information, visit kirosha.com/Black History, KIROSHA.com/Black History. Black History Month celebration, Courage to Remember. Celebrate with us.
Tune in to Affirmations with Alex, and together we will affirm our way to a healthier mindset by listening to empowering messages. Hi, I'm Alex from Affirmations with Alex. Join me every Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
What's up, Central Mass? This is Angelo Gray, and we want to thank you for all your support. And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
And welcome back to Talking Wellness on Unity Radio 97.9 FM. And I'm your host, Siobhan Myers, and we're sponsored by the Kiva Centers. And we are back with Sarah.
Here I am.
Yes, we are back after the break. Yes. So we were talking about Handle and the different age groups that we work with, the
Right,
different
and
modalities.
I don't think we hit but we do work with older adults too.
Yes.
Which I think is
fun.
a population that really could benefit from support.
Yeah. And some of them are so resistant to treatment because you know, the stigma that they might have heard about mental health and the fact that they need it. And then there's like that power struggle sometimes where it's just like, you know, maybe I don't need someone telling me or giving me suggestions, and maybe I do, you know, and I think it's all about making them comfortable, right?
Right.
With the process.
I mean, I feel like that's most important, you know, for folks who might feel extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that go along with people getting older, you know what I mean? Like their bodies are changing.
Yes.
They can't they don't have as much of a spring in their step.
Yep.
It's harder for folks to get around. And so I think as people age, I think they tend to, they gain a lot of knowledge, but they lose some things too.
Yes.
And so I think that there's it's such an important group of people who could benefit from support.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe not typically, I don't think it's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about, counseling and therapy, but I think people really can benefit from that.
So like the transitions that they might be going through, like,
right.
You can be dealing with someone who's going through a divorce or who worked at a job for 20, 30 years. And then they're like, oh, and retirement. And what am I going to do now? And
what am I going to do with my day?
Right. I'm alone and that sort of thing.
Right.
And what about the things that they may have not accomplished too?
That they may still want to.
Right.
Right.
Or that they made sacrifices for and they feel like, feel like they're at the point that they can't, but it's never too late. What we tell people.
That's right. That's right. Go for it.
Yep. So definitely. Okay. So anything else around like the population?
We work with people. we could, in terms of, it's people who are looking, they kind of identify that something's up, something's getting in my way of really kind of feeling like an internal kind of sense of happiness and kind of, just positivity. And really we see so many types of folks, struggling with a variety of diagnoses, but we are, very open and accepting and, welcoming to folks who are looking. So
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And the referrals just keep coming in, and we have a huge team. You said about of 60 clinicians.
Yeah. I mean,
all different age ranges
Right.
and backgrounds. So that's
Different-
cool.
Right. I think we have such a nice variety. I was looking on the website today on HBH, and I was looking at like all the clinicians we have.
Yep.
I mean, what a good group of people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Dedicated, very invested in working with their clients and really wanting people to get to where they want to be. And such a really when we have that the summertime get together.
Yes, I love that. With the truck and
I don't know if I
can
can say it. Quinnisigman? Is that how the pond or the park? Isn't
it next to the airport or
it's kind of close to that, but I feel like you can Quinsigamond.
Yes.
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
We have this, like, there's a little beach there too. However, the weather has not been our friend.
No.
I mean,
I remember my kids were there.
Yes,
and,
I remember,
the
like,
little one,
oh,
with the face painted, and he was tailed, and he couldn't stop looking in the mirror. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh! Oh, they love it. The face painting. That's a great thing.
Yeah. So.
And hopefully, if we have nicer weather, I mean, people can take a dip in the water.
Okay.
They've got paddle boats.
So is that every year that we go there, or?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
But we've just had really bad weather.
Yeah. Oh, has it been every year? Has it been bad weather, or just wow?
I think we've done it 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. But it's been every year. I'm like, this is the year.
Yep.
The sun's coming out. And I'm going in a paddle boat.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what makes us, well, let's look at what we specialize in, what areas, right?
So like who we work with in terms, I mean, there's so many people.
I could tell you some from my caseload. I have people on the spectrum.
Yes.
I have ADHD.
Yes.
Depression, mood disorders, personality disorders, gender dysmorphia. Is that what it's called? So people who are trans,
or folks struggling with sexuality.
Yep.
So many things.
Yep.
People with OCD. Struggling with substance abuse, and people who've had a lot of trauma in their life.
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe not resolving that within themselves. And that can be a very helpful thing for people, and kind of maybe pointing their life in a better direction.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. And so we have a wide range of ages. Psychiatric services, because a lot of places don't have that. So
we have psychiatric prescribers.
Okay.
That folks can get medication management too, because a lot of times what is helpful is when you kind of get the duality. You get the therapy and you get the psychiatric med management.
That, which is nice.
Right.
It's a package deal.
Yeah. Buy one, get two free.
Yeah.
But it can be even more helpful for folks.
Yeah.
What we really want people to be living their lives the way they want to be.
Absolutely. And having those services available for, if they need them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some people are on the fence about meds and they don't want to do it. And even for the young ones, but we have to say after a couple of weeks or so, if nothing is working and you still have high levels of anxiety or high levels of depression, then maybe this will help you, until you get on your feet and get a grasp on the coping skills, right?
It's an avenue. It's a path you can take. And you can look into it and you can, you know what I mean? You can try it, educate yourself about it, talk to somebody and see if it works for you, if it's helpful.
Absolutely.
There can be, I am like in support of people feeling better.
Right.
And kind of, I like people to be able to get to where they want to be.
Right. Helping them reach their goals and so they can graduate. you know, because like I always tell my clients, I would love to take your money, but I can't. And eventually you got to graduate, right? Because some people get dependent on the services and being there. And it's just, and it's not helpful for us because after a while it's like, okay, what are we working on if you've reached all your goals, right? So,
yeah. And I think I started during the pandemic. So when I was a clinician, I was talking to a lot of, I want to say college students who are going through it. They were on campus. Campus was shutting down. Students were going home and doing online classes, and their whole college, like the 4-year or whatever year, it was completely turned around like a 360.
Oh, wow.
And that was very interesting, and just kind of giving people support through that.
Yeah.
When the world shifted a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. And that really does take a burden on the clinicians, but we can kind of get to that a little bit later about the self-care and like how do we take care of ourselves?
That's right.
Well, what makes us unique? What do you think about that?
I honestly think
we hit on some of it already.
I think it's the fact that it's the Handel family and the way that they run it. I mean, I believe that to my boots.
Yep. And it is the family.
It literally is, it's a husband and wife, it's a mom and a dad, it's their kids and their husbands and wives, and people are just so talented.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think about my family. I'm like, I have 2 brothers and I don't think we can put this together.
So it's nice that they can be cohesive and work together. Yeah.
Right. Right. And be so good at it.
Yes.
We have, Stu, who's Greg's son, Greg and Marianne. We have Marianne, Greg's wife.
Yep.
And she visits all the different offices and keeps them, looking good, up to date. Where are the problems? Like, what do we have to work on? She's very in touch with the clinicians. She gets to meet people and talk to them. And then Stu, I think Stu does a lot, in terms of helping people from every department.
Okay.
And then we have Nicole, which is Greg and Marianne's daughter.
Yep. Stu's sister.
Stu's her son. And then we have Stu's wife. And she is running. Liz Handel is in charge of human resources. So, and they all run their, departments so smoothly. And Nicole, Greg and Marianne's daughter, she runs the client care department.
Right.
And how we get, how do we handle all the incoming calls, and, how do we schedule all these people with different clinicians and who, all of that.
Right. That's a lot.
It runs, and they have an HBH blog as well.
Yes.
Where folks you could go on like Instagram or I don't know, Facebook, and you can, very, very much dedicated to people learning about mental health, and they do interviews sometimes with staff as well.
Yeah, nice.
So just a whole lot of positive, moving forward kind of thinking.
Yeah, I love it. And that's something, and they get to see each other work together, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So, but they're all in different departments too. So it's not like it's always, All right. So that definitely makes us unique in a lot of ways. Very welcoming. I mean, I really enjoyed, and very responsive when you need something, So so when we get back from the break, we'll talk more about the insurances.
Okay.
All right. I am your host, Siobhan Myers on Talking Wellness, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Hey, this is Ricky Duran, and you're listening to Unity Radio on 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Hi, I'm Siobhan Myers, your host on Talking Wellness, presented by the Kiva Centers on Unity Radio 97.9 FM. As a licensed mental health professional and leader in the field, I believe every story matters and healing starts with being heard. Whether you're navigating life's challenges or lifting others through theirs, I'm here to explore the paths of mental health, recovery, and wholeness. Tune into Talking Wellness on Unity Radio 97.9 FM every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for honest conversation and inspiration. This program is sponsored by the Kiva Centers, a statewide leader in peer-led support and recovery services. From Worcester to Western Mass, Kiva is lighting the way forward. Talking Wellness, every voice, every journey. Speak up, be heard, and of course, be well.
Life is like a roller coaster. It has its high and low moments, zooming through our lives. Sometimes we feel excited and full of joy, and other times we feel numb to the world around us. Low moments are a part of life. They help us cherish the good times. That's why it's important to reach out when life's lows stop us in our tracks. Connect with someone now. Call 211 or text 988.
Tune into the Sustaining Life with Susan Teulet. And together, we will find our way to a healthier, healing lifestyle by listening to empowering stories of overcoming our struggles. Join me, Susan Teulet, on the Sustaining Life every Wednesday from 5 to 6 on Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. See you soon.
What's up, Worcester? It's your boy AG, better known as Angelo Gray. And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9, Worcester's Community Connection.
And welcome back to Talking Wellness on Unity Radio 97.9 FM. And I am your host, Siobhan Myers, and we're sponsored by the Kiva Centers. And you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. I had to say it again, loud and proud. All right, so we're back with Sarah, who is the supervisor at HBH, Handle Behavioral Health. And so we had a good conversation prior to the break about populations and what makes us unique and different from other companies. And I think what's really important is to know, like, you know, how do we pay for these wonderful services that we provide?
Well, I think, most folks, lots of folks, I'd say the majority have insurance.
Okay.
So that's, that's one avenue, the different insurance, and then everybody's got like a different identified deductible and all that kind of stuff. People can self-pay.
Yes.
And that's another way to do it.
And client care will work with you too. Because I've seen that happen. I had a couple where one was on like a certain plan to pay and maybe like a sliding scale. Maybe, I don't know how they do this, but if it's, services can be wicked expensive. So, but maybe there's somehow that they have a technique where they can give a good number.
I think that sometimes if somebody is like, something happens in life, people lose their insurance or something like that. I have had that happen with a client, and I've talked to Greg about it.
Okay.
And, Sarah, you can see the person, if, pro bono, if you'd like.
Right.
And that's sometimes an option, and also self-pay again is another option. And folks in HBH billing often can work out payment plans with people,
right?
Because sometimes people don't know that their insurance has been cut off. Life's busy, people are working several jobs, and they lose track of things easily. So that can happen. And if it does, like, we want to work with you. We want to, work things out so your care is not interrupted.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and because a lot of places may not take certain insurances, so I know when I worked for BetterHelp, they take people who don't have insurances. So a lot of the times people are coming out of their pockets. And so a lot of them came over from when I worked for Psych Wellness, and I brought them over. I said, hey, if you have insurance and you're on BetterHelp because you're missing sessions, and that's a fee too, on top of the insurance that you don't have, the fees that you don't have insurance to pay for.
Right.
Come on over, and you can kind of have your services paid for, maybe there's like a copayment and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does copayments and deductibles work? Like,
wow, that is HBH billing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
well, because a lot of the times where a client, I find that clients, I had one client and I think that she thought having like a 30-minute session that her deductible or her copayment wouldn't be as much as it was, and she was charged that each time. And I had to tell her, I said, well, I just saw it like you capped it at 30 minutes, and she does, like, you can tell she's just like, I'm done looking at the screen and I'm tired, so that's her norm.
Wow.
But I said that doesn't change like the amount of for the copayment that you pay.
Right.
That's just what insurance is requiring you to pay. So copayment is it's probably like a small fee, like $20, $10,
I mean, copays are different in terms of every insurer, and that kind of thing. HBH billing does like a fabulous job in terms of, all right, well, let's verify this person's coverage. Let's see, do they have a deductible? What's their, and helping to like narrow in and identify the copay, because sometimes people have no idea, right? This is your first time, what's a copay? Like, wait a minute. And they are very such a good dialogue, open communication. Like if you write something to HB, like if we like clinician, I just like write to HBH billing, let them know what's going on, explain it, and they will get back to you. And they are so consistent about getting back in like such a timely manner, just working very hard to make the process as smooth as it can be.
Definitely. And I hear that from a lot of clients too, like they talk about that, so
and they're very helpful at breaking things down. Like if somebody somebody might not know their insurance may have stopped, and sometimes like they could owe a couple $100, whatever.
They're good with sending those emails out,
and they'll sit down with somebody and they'll make a payment plan. So what that does is allow the person to continue with their ongoing therapy. And that's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So it can be affordable and they can work with you and you can get the services you need. So how does the referral process work? Do you know?
Well, people can definitely self-refer. You can go online, and what you need to do is call client care. I know you have the number over there.
Yes, client care. And you don't need a PCP to refer you, because a lot of people
you can refer
might
yourself.
think that you can refer yourself. Your PCP can refer you. And the number to call is 413-343-4357. And so it really looks like 413-343-HELP. So we just broke the help down for you, which is the 4357. And you'll speak to someone directly, and they're very responsive,
wonderful.
And they get back to you.
They get back and they want people to get the care that they're looking for. And they work really, really hard to find, a clinician that's available that think specializes in what they're looking for, getting help. And it's a very strong team and very responsive. Just all the departments are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they'll ask you for information, right? Like demographics, like your name, your birthday, contact information. And then they'll get the issue as to why you're in therapy and that sort of thing.
And so ask you a little bit about your history. What was your, people can fill this whole questionnaire out too. Once somebody talks to folks in client care, what they can do, they send people over the internet. They send them the forms that they need to complete and fill out. So how long have you been struggling with this? What was your, family like when you were growing up? What's it like now? And just kind of that will help the clinician.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it makes it easy. It's easier for us because once they come into session, then what we can do is when we get the information, like the intake, we can put that information is there. We just verify it and make sure that everything is there that needs to be. And then we can kind of go into the session.
Yeah. And just learn a little bit, because there's always a little bit more that's on paper.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And anything else you want to tell us about HBH or?
It is, it is such a warm and productive environment.
Yes.
And people working within Handel Behavioral Health really are committed to helping people
Right.
make changes and helping people that will help them feel better.
Right. Absolutely.
People's quality of life.
And we have different locations.
Yes, we do. We have an office in Franklin, Mass. We have an office in Amherst.
Yep.
In Natick.
Yep.
In West Springfield and in Wilbraham.
Where I am. But you can be anywhere and do telehealth. So
yes, you can.
They'll just appoint you to whoever's available in which office. So
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm your host, Siobhan Myers on Talking Wellness, and you're listening to Unity Radio 97.9 FM, Worcester's Community Connection. And thank you so much, Sarah, for tuning in today.
Thank you.
You're welcome back anytime. I really enjoyed sitting with you.
It was really great.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.